and I've always been obedient to God. To God and obedient to my mama.
Okay, so can you tell us a little bit about that day that, all of a sudden there was a storm? Could you sense that storm?
Well, no, not really. Ever since I became a really big fish, I would always spend all of my time down at the really deep parts of the ocean. And you can't tell if there is a storm on the top, and you don't care.
So why'd you go to the top then?
Well, because I got a call from the Lord, from God himself. He said to me, big fish, go to the top. Wait for further instruction when you get to the top, and I will tell you what I must have you to do.
So when you got there, what did he have for you to do?
Well, he said, do you see the Hebrew man floating, struggling, and sinking into the water? I said to the Lord, well, of course I see him. I have two really big eyes. So then he said to me, I want you to swallow the man. I said to the Lord, but Lord, he hasn't had a bath. He stinks. He doesn't smell well. And he's dirty. The Lord said, you will not be sick. At least not yet. Swallow the man. Well, I've always done what my mama's told me, because I've always been obedient, and I've always done what the Lord has told me, because I have always been obedient. Except for that one time when I didn't clean my room. But other than that, I've been obedient.
So what did it feel like to have him in your belly?
Well, I had him to have to take off his sandals because they were scratching the inside of my stomach. And then I told him, be still. You are driving me nuts. We're going to be doing this a long time, so be still.
Did you hear anything?
Well, yes. Once he finally got used to the accommodations inside of my large tummy, he began whining and crying and praying to God. But God was not going to answer his prayer yet. He wanted saved from me, and he would be saved, but not yet, and not for a while.
So what made you decide to spit him out?
Well, after 3 days, I started feeling a little sick. The Lord told me I wouldn't be sick, at least not yet. Well, yet finally came. The Lord told me, swim to the dry land. I said, but I don't like it there. There are people there, and they are sticky. But I went anyway because I have always been obedient to my mama and obedient to God.
I see. Well, let me ask any of the kids if they have any questions. Anybody have a question? Daniel?
What did it feel like when you spit him out?
What did it feel like when you spit him out?
Well, have you ever eaten a bunch of bad shrimp that was rotten and spoiled?
No, and I
did, after a while, you would start to feel sick at your stomach, and you would puke up a bucket. And that's what I did with Jonah. I said to Jonah as I was throwing him up out of my mouth onto the dry land, "You still are stinky. In fact, you stink worse. You smell like puke. You smell like vomit." And that was about it.
Missy?
What did Jonah taste like?
Well, have you ever tasted... Well, first let me ask you this, young girl. Do you have a brother?
Yes.
Does he ever wear socks?
Yes.
Have you ever eaten his socks after he's come home from school?
No.
Well, that's what a Hebrew man tastes like. Old socks that your brother has been wearing all day when he comes home from school.
Tate, do you have a question?
Sorry. What did his hair feel like?
His hair was very hairy. It was long. It was stringy. And it was salty from sweat.
Brett?
How old are you?
Old. I'm very old. At the time, I was already 700 years old. And now, added 1,300 years to that, I'm approaching 2,000 years old.
Abby?
What did it feel like throwing him up? No,
What did it feel like throwing him up?
It felt like my stomach was going into convulsions. I believe I've already answered this question, and just the thought of it is making me sick again. Oh no. Watch out.
Watch out, Missy.
Yeah, that's better.
Anybody else have a question? You guys already asked them. Anybody who has not asked a question? Hurry up, Tate.
Did he ever spit at you?
Did Jonah ever spit at me? Is that your
That
question?
was the question, yes.
Yes.
No. I think at first Jonah was sort of glad to see me. He was drowning, you know. I sort of took care of him for a while. He did not spit.
Daniel, last question. Oh, wait a second. Austin hasn't asked one. What is it, Austin?
So technically, while he was in your stomach, you were kind of like his dad, sort of.
I'm sorry I couldn't hear that. Try again.
Okay. So when he was in your stomach, so like it was kind of like you were kind of guarding him from the water. Sort of.
Were you
Well,
guarding
of
him?
course, if I didn't swallow him, of course he would have drowned. He would not have made it in the ocean for 3 days by himself. He was a horrible swimmer. I felt quite sorry for him when I first saw him. In fact, I laughed a little bit. Well, maybe not that much, but anyway, I giggled a little.
All right, last question, Daniel.
Besides Jonah, did you hear like any other voices, like angels or anything?
No, I only heard the voice of Jonah himself, the voice of God, and my mama.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Whale. We have to do our awards now.
Well, you're quite welcome.
Would you like to stay and watch?
Yes, I will be right here. But I'm
All
going
right.
to go to sleep now. I won't be saying anything else.
All right, thank you.
Okay, good night.
Everyone
Goodbye,
say bye,
children.
Whale.